Yeah. Good morning. It's Saturday, October the 10th, 2022, and we're at the Casa Grande at Almaden's Quicksilver Mine Museum. So let's take a look around and see what we find about the Almaden mines, and especially Spanishtown that was here. Here we have two of our members. Introduce yourselves, sirs.
Manolo Callahan, Raza Historical Society.
Doctor Manolo Callahan. Doctor Joel Herrera a sus órdenes. Let's go learn about el pueblo española.
Excellent. We're looking at La Casa Grande, which is the name this building, which was the headquarters of the mine company back in the day. And what a lucky day, I get to photograph all the important people.
Where did the band person go?
I'm putting him right back here.
Okay, he said upper patio south corner,
I guessed,
near the railing.
Well, I put him in the north corner. They want
And
shade.
he will be here in 5 minutes. So.
They're going to be
Martha Hannish and I spent 8 years teaching on the
Just
east side
in case.
at
More
Orville
than,
High School
it
together.
had to have been more than 8.
And she was a math teacher and also a math department chair. We
Yeah.
sat on the school site council together.
Right.
We chased the kids together. We
Right.
took training together on how to deliver an A or a B to every single kid in your
You
class.
got it.
We did not give.
And Joelle
Yeah.
was the champ.
And she was one of our champs for Equity 2000 also.
Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
Joe Cotto started that initiative.
Long
Equity
time
2000,
ago.
one of 5 districts in the United States of America.
Yeah.
And Martha Hannish was one of the proponents
Yeah.
of that.
Martha, which years did you teach?
83 to 2007.
Yeah, where?
Overfell?
Always at Overfell?
Well, no, way back in the 60s, I was at Blackford in the Campbell district.
Uh-huh.
Hi.
Oh, good.
Seeing all kinds of old friends.
And we haven't
Thank you.
recognized each other. I haven't seen her since
Yeah.
year 2000,
Wow.
maybe.
Maybe,
I saw her name and I go, is that who just signed in? The lady goes, that's her.
When did you retire?
Has to be in 2007.
So what fun things have you been doing since 2007?
Oh, traveling around, just California local.
Riding her
fun.
Harley.
Yeah, right.
She's a Harley rider.
Actually, I
Nice.
don't ride much after
Yeah,
retirement.
no, okay,
No.
but she was a Harley rider. She was a Harley
Well, good talking to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you
We'll
too.
talk again.
Now, is
Okay.
your wife going to be here?
No, I'm with a
Harry's
couple of
not
gentlemen
here yet. He
with
should be
an
here
organization that we
momentarily.
belong to called La Raza Historical Society.
Oh, I know that. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're,
Oh, good.
we're all 3
Good,
board
good.
members. This is our founding
Okay.
secretary, I'm the president secretary.
Yay.
This is Manolo Callahan.
New Almaden Quicksilver County Park Association and our historical interpretive center. We need help really bringing out the story of the Mexican mineros at New Almaden, because it's a story that is not told as well as the story of English camp. And there were many societies, benevolent societies in the Mexican camp, that we've lost track of, and it would be nice to use the census data and the family names and Ancestry.com and begin to develop a much better timeline, a much better story for these families, because they're all out there. Everyone that had to leave New Almaden when the mines went under or had to leave for some reason, they're all out there in the valley. There's hundreds of people that trace their roots to these 2 little mining communities dating back to 1845. So we'd like to see that develop further.
So,
My name's Michael Cox, and I'm a geologist. I used to work at the USGS as an assistant to Dr. Edgar Bailey, who was the USGS Mercury commodity geologist. And I became interested in New Almaden when I moved to California in 1974. I spent most of my time underground, sneaking around in the mine, because to me the underground space is the monument to the miners. That's their work. That's the fruit of their labor. It's a building in reverse. They hollowed out the mountain rather than building a big building.
where did you come from when you came to California?
I was born in New York City. I lived on Long Island for a time, and then I lived in the Hudson River Valley with my mom, single mom, and my 2 siblings. She remarried, and we came out here. My stepdad was the engineer for KQED from underneath Mount Sutro. That's where he worked.
Mike, I see we're standing next to a cutout, and everybody keeps talking about Kitty.
Yeah.
Tell me about Kitty.
So Kitty Monahan was a teacher. She started out her early days as a nun, but she taught in the LA public school system. When a new pope came in, he decreed that the nuns could no longer be out in the world, that they had to be cloistered. So Kitty didn't like that, so after 9 years she left the convent and struck out on her own. So she came up to the Bay Area to teach, and she ended up at Overfeld High School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So she came to New Almaden in 1972 because it was cheap housing out here. This was a place where you could afford a little house.
Keep talking.
And it's always been hard for teachers, to afford the Bay Area because the electronics boom and the price of housing going up and up and up. And when Kitty, as soon as she got out here, she was a force of nature, a diminutive force of nature. And she let it be known, that she's here and she's interested in the history. She loved horses, she loved children, she loved animals, she loved teaching, she loved history. So she brought us all together and formed the New Almaden Quicksilver County Park Association. And that was in 1982, and then we incorporated, and we're still here, but we just lost Kitty this year, sadly.
In 1850, the Constitution of the state of California adopted a poll tax. And for $2, every male who was eligible to vote would pay a county registrar, and they would put together for the entire county a large book with everybody who was eligible's name. I brought the 1896 register for Almaden today, and in it there are a whole bunch of ancestors for people that mined here. These are all the eligible voters. And the Great Register basically has, if you haven't seen it, the man's age, where he was born, his height, his complexion, the color of his eyes, and the color of his hair. And also gives the date that he became an American citizen and the court where it was done. So you might want to take a look at it over here. And Ron, we're going to endeavor to put it up on the website, but there's a lot of great information there. In 1914, they only did this for 10 years, that they had these physical descriptions. In 1914, when the taxpayers rescinded it, I think we've lost a lot of good information, but of course poll tax is a different issue. A lot of states where poll tax is still in effect. The 1964 Civil Rights Act basically made it impossible to be used in a federal election, but not in a state or local election. Anyhow.
This is the voter registration, and these are all, look at the names. Banyales, Arredondo. These are all the miners, and they're voting. They're registered for voting. This is 1896, and it tells you what they did.
Their occupations.
Yeah, Miguel Castillo, he's farmer. Michael Castillo. Acevedo Quarry, right?
I'm not aware of that.
Yeah, the family, Aceves. These all became quarry people. Yeah, really interesting. Everybody found their way. But look how many people.
How many pages is this?
I think it's 5 pages.
Wow. That's about 40, 50 names per page.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
This is the Almaden precinct.
Dr. Herrera is looking at the voter list of 1896 here at the mine.
Oh, is it the voter list?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I see, voted. Yeah, a copy of the Great Register of Santa Clara County, the Almaden precinct. Mm-hmm. And the first name is Francisco Acevedo, and the second name is Francisco Aceves, and the third name is Jesus Aceves. And then going down, you see various names, and also a lot of Latino names.
Go down the list and just tell us names.
Florencio Bañales, Reyes Barraza. Let me see, hay más. Oh, Chaboya, Jesus Chaboya. Oh, I wonder if that's the Chaboya family, Chenoweth family. Look at that. They have some streets and stuff named after them. Wow. Look at this. Yeah, look at this. Yep, let me see if, oh, Luis Espinosa. Yeah, Jose Flores. So, Jose Gavino Gonzalez. So I think, look at this. Look at the Hernandez, Juan Hernandez, Ponciano Hernandez, Juan Hernandez, Alexander Hernandez. Oh, maybe someone I'm related to, Ramon Herrera y Lorenzo Herrera. Could be my family. Okay, we keep looking. Now we're on page 3. Oh. And we're looking for different Latino names. Look at, there's Lopez here. Andres Lopez. And we have some Martinez, Ignacio Martinez, Abram Caro Martinez, Mercado. We have different names. Look at that. Yeah, wow.
And how many pages are there?
And last page right here, there's the 4th page. And the first name is, mira, Stanislas Rodriguez, Bernardo Romero Salazar, Theodore Salazar, Faustino Sanchez, Rosario Santabaños. Wow, look at all this. Carlos Solis, Antonio Solis. Wow, look at this. Venegas, Antonio Venegas. You know, wow.
Let's see if we find your family name around here. This is the 1896 guest register of the County Almaden Registrar. These are people who voted in this area.
The teacher was absent. The substitute was there, but she went to go get coffee. And then she took me back. Actually? Yeah. Why? She doesn't like her parents go. Oh, I know. Bro, that's not just fighting. I can't write to sing. And then there's a motor right there.
Yo, before.
Guys, I'm not allowed to play on you mean like my hair? No, I'm saying my hands are so trash. It just gets inside like my shirt. It hurts. What? This is winter hat.
Hey, thank you guys for coming out today.
Okay, here's the last page. Again, this is the 1896 copy of the County Registrar's Almaden Precinct voters. Then the names are accompanied by the work that they did. And this is then where they were born.
Back in '82, Don Whedon, retired from county planning, had been hired by County Parks to do a master plan for Quicksilver Park. And he met with all of us that were interested in the park and hatched an idea that there ought to be a park association. So Kitty definitely ran with that. We met at Forbes Mill and elected a board of directors, and then a year later we incorporated as a 501c3. And we also held our first Pioneer Day. You know, we, as an association, we had to have goals and activities, and we decided one of the first things we wanted to do was to bring the old-timers and their children back to New Almaden so they could reminisce and we could meet them and they could talk about their stories and we could capture some of that history. And at the Pioneer Day, Kitty said, "Mike Cox." She always says, "Mike Cox." She says, you're MC, so you're going to be the MC. Okay, so here I am. I'm MC.
She walks through the corn leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox, like a fox on the run. Now everybody knows the reason for my fall. This woman tempted me down in Paradise Hall. Yeah, this woman tempted me and took me for a ride. And like the lonely fox boy, I need a place to hide. She walks through the corn leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox on the run. Drink a glass of wine, boys, to fortify our soul and talk about our friends and the past we used to know. Well, they got this gang of girls now who got me on the floor. The game is nearly over and the hounds are at my door. She walks through the corn leading down to the river. Her hair shone like gold in the hot morning sun. She took all the love that a poor boy could give her and left me to die like a fox on the run. Like a fox, like a fox on the run. Fox on the run. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. We are the Stargazers and
welcome. Good morning to our New Almaden Quicksilver County Parks Association 38th Annual Pioneer Day. It's a time to remember the rich history here in New Almaden, history and heritage for New Almaden. And I was thinking about this on my drive in, and it kind of reminded me of this guy that I know who he woke up on a beautiful Sunday morning, much like today, and grabbed the Sunday paper and a second cup of coffee and went back to bed. And he's just enjoying lounging around until his wife said, "Okay, honey, it's time to go to church." And he said, "No, I'm not going to church today." She says, "Of course you are. You need to go to church." And he says, "No, I'm not going." And she says, "Give me 3 reasons why you don't want to go to church." And the guy says, "Well, I never have a good time when I go to church. Those people don't like me, and quite frankly, I don't really care for them either." And she's just giving him the look like, you need to go to church. And he says, "Okay, if you're so smart, give me 3 reasons why I should go to church." And she says, "Well, number 1, you will have a good time. You always have a good time. Those people do like you. And besides, you're the pastor." So all that to say, I hope you have a good time today. I hope you meet some friendly people and enjoy our Pioneer Day that's been, we've had to take a break the last couple of years because of COVID. My name is Tere Johnson, and I'm the new president of New Almaden Quicksilver County Park Association. And I hope you had an opportunity to say hello to Kitty as you walked in. She was welcoming you. Kitty obviously has led this organization for nearly 40 years.
Bienvenidos, Joel Herrera, Joel Herrera, Dr. Herrera, here to tell you about a wonderful woman by the name of Kitty Monahan. I spent 180 days with Kitty in the year 68, 69 because she was my geometry teacher at Overfelt High School in Eastside San Jose. Kitty, that wonderful smile you see, she had that smile every day. One thing about Miss Monahan is you always felt her warmth and her love in class. And also, you were fortunate because you would also learn geometry. Probably one of my favorite math teachers that I had. But the main thing I remember about her is her friendliness, her warmth, and her skill in transmitting that geometry to a reluctant student, who's 16 years old. Thank you, Kitty. Gracias, Kitty, por todo su amor. Okay? Got it.
Well, I'm Mike Boland, and I'm here to honor my friendship with John Slenter. And I want to thank Terry for giving me a chance to share my words of respect for the mentor and New Almaden Quicksilver County Park Association member, John Slenter. John was a fabulous guy. I didn't know anything about him until I started doing this, and he would just be my normal neighbor. He was born in Oakland, California, and retired as a professional window dresser and designer from the J.C. Penney department store in Oakland. It was a small world experience that I found out that I respected John's talent because I too worked for J.C. Penney store in San Francisco. So we used to sit around and talk about different experiences. I worked in the men's department and he ran around all over the place. He told me his marriage produced one daughter who he loved to visit and often took trips to Arizona to bond with the grandchildren. John earned my respect as a father when he would pay the total cost of the vacation every year. I like to like places like Disneyland. I first met John when he lived and cared for his blind elderly mother in his home until she died. Many of the New Almaden people in town would go down to the end of the block and join him in watching the baseball game with his mother. John had a special needs brother and often visited him to socialize and keep him going. His hobbies included fishing in the Sierras and sharing the extra trout with my family. My 2-year-old grandson, Harrison, had a great respect and love for him. John was a model train collector, and he would go. John would allow my 3-year-old or 2-year-old son to go run his outdoor Western Garden Railroad that included a $1,000 Frontier engine. John was also a mining artifact collector. I don't know if you've ever been in his home. It was a miniature one-room Western history museum with the mining train mining dioramas that he acquired or built. John's collection of Western model trains was one of his greatest passions. The love for the old mining pioneer Western history is what brought John here to settle in New Almaden in the early 1993s. He joined NAQCPA as a member, and then a few years later joined the board of directors. While still working for Penny's, he volunteered at the Connie Piera Museum in New Almaden. And then he worked his way up and became a docent at the Casa Grande. And not long after he retired from J.C. Penney's, he was later hired as the principal interpreter for the museum. One of John's first school tours props he made for the children, was a dynamite charger for his presentations. She's going to be my volunteer here. Okay, hold out. Okay, he would pick one child out of the class, another child.
Let's bring it up here.
Come on, okay. Maybe put it up on the, up here. One child in the class to push the plunger, and then when it lit up red, he would have the children yell, "Fire in the hole." And then they'd say, "Well, wait a minute, wait, hold on. Suspense, we need suspense to this." In closing, I need your help with one last remembrance. Ready? Okay, hold on. Okay, all right. So we would, in the museum, you would come and you'd hear this sound. I need you all to help us. Okay? Okay, please let John know in heaven that we remember him. After I count to 3, okay? When you push the plunger, but not right now, to the dynamite charger, I need everyone here to yell, "Fire in the hole." Okay, ready? Here we go. And what's your name again?
Astrid.
Astrid. Astrid, okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Everybody.
Thank you for the warm welcome. Believe me, I'm very grateful to be here. It is great to be here in the district of Senate District 15 this time of year in the fall. You know, we delivered all that legislation to the governor and let him do his thing and decide what he's going to sign and not sign. And they let us come back here and, you know, to be here in the district on such a beautiful day with all of you who've been so committed to our parks, to New Almaden in particular, and to this county and to the city of San Jose. I know we're not standing in the city limits right now, but I know most of you are committed to all those things. Of course, the state of California. What has really been on my mind, and unfortunately I couldn't do it any earlier than this, but I think this is as good a time as any, is the folks that we've lost. And I know that's where we're at here on the program today, particularly Kitty Monahan, who was probably one of those people years ago when I started my work as an elected official who thought, who is this guy? What's this guy about? And maybe one of those people who, and rightfully so, I had to really earn her respect and her support. But somehow I did that, and lucky for me, right? Lucky for me. You know, what a wonderful and warm and committed and energetic community advocate, volunteer, whether it was at Marshall Connell Park, Volunteer Recognition Day, or the event that I used to run, which coincidentally is still happening today, Day on the Bay. You know, I'd see Kitty everywhere, anywhere. It seemed like wherever there was a park-sponsored event. And of course, obviously, New Almaden was, you know, her heart and soul was tied up here. Everyone knows that. I want you all to know that I asked the California State Senate to adjourn in her memory, and that did happen. We have a certificate. I did not bring that certificate with me today. I didn't know if this was the appropriate place to bring that. But there's a formal certificate from the California State Senate acknowledging her and acknowledging that particular event. In addition, and of course, there's nobody up here in terms of those we've lost, in terms of those that are being recognized that I didn't encounter, respect, have interactions with, and I just think it's a beautiful thing that the organization itself today, Terry said it's kind of informal, formal, or whatever, just to take the time, you know, to acknowledge those who've paved the way, really, either alongside of us or for us, perhaps, in my case, in some ways. The other thing I wanted to do, and I'll wrap up, is to present a certificate from the California State Senate to the New Almaden Quicksilver County Park Association on its 38th annual Pioneer Day. It's a celebration sign, a real celebration sign, right? It says, greetings and congratulations on being the oldest county park association and friends group in Santa Clara County, and for the countless contributions the organization has made to Santa Clara County Parks and to Almaden Quicksilver County Park in particular. We recognize your service to the community. Your work has been a true gift for which we are profoundly grateful. Signed by yours truly on behalf of the California State Senate, and that's heartfelt. And thank you for having me here today so I could express that on behalf of our state legislature. Thank you.
And so I want to thank NAQCPA for your service, my colleagues here with the Parks Department, how much you all give every day. I want to acknowledge that as well. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.
I was dancing with my darling to the Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see. I introduced him to my loved one, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me. I remember the night at the Tennessee waltz. Now I know just how much I have lost. Yes, I lost my little darling the night they were playing the beautiful Tennessee waltz. My darling, to the Tennessee waltz when an old friend I happened to see. I introduced him to my loved one, and while they were dancing, my friend stole my sweetheart from me. I remember the night at the Tennessee waltz. Now I know just how much I have lost. Yes, I lost my little darling the night they were playing the beautiful Tennessee waltz. Yeah, the beautiful Tennessee waltz. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, I'm Bill Herrera with the Milpitas Historical Society. We're visiting New Almaden today on a beautiful day. We're going to have a grand opening of the new Alviso Adobe Museum in Alviso Adobe Park in Milpitas. Is that open to the public? It is open to the public, right? Just to watch the ribbon cutting, yes?
The ribbon cutting probably, so yeah, the inside tour is for the dignitary.
But for the general public, you know, sometime later in the year, you'll be able to go in and see this wonderful new museum they've made. It has a lot of, it's basically the walls come to life. It's very high tech. There are 15 projectors that shoot down the walls. It is very vivid imagery that moves and tells the story of the history of the adobe, and we're really excited about it. And of course there are traditional artifacts and a recreation of what the kitchen looked like in the 1940s. Every room is a little different, you know, for its era because of the long life of this building, and you know, it was inhabited for over 150. Yes, preserving another adobe in the Santa Clara Valley, which is great.
If I'm interested in knowing more about the Alviso Adobe, who do I contact?
Well, you can contact me, and one of the things that I'm preparing for people is a trifold booklet or pamphlet that describes the history of the person that it's named for and the rancho and the life history of the what was there. I'm Joseph Ehard, and I'm one of the docents at Milpitas Historical Society.
And how do I find you?
You can go to our website, which is at TMHS, the Milpitas Historical Society, TMHS at milpitashistoricalsociety.org. Sorry.
But you can go to the website, which is milpitashistoricalsociety.org, and hit the contact link on that.
Yeah, and there's actually there's already a history of the park and the person for whom the park is named. That's already up on the website.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What is the date of the dedication?
October 26th at 5 p.m.
In
Milpitas.
At the park.
Yes, it's
2087 Elvisa Adobe Court, and just off of Piedmont Road. Closest intersection is Piedmont Road and Calaveras.
Thank you.